This presentation is supported by our regional water supplier, Tarrant Regional Water District. TRWD maintains 4 area lakes and pipelines needed to provide surface water to local water treatment plants so they can clean it to meet drinking water standards for our communities. They also work with many cities in Tarrant County, such as Fort Worth, Arlington, and Mansfield, to provide water conservation programs for the community. Conservation is an important water supply strategy to help meet the needs of a growing population. There are currently 2.3 million people in Tarrant County, and this is expected to double over the next 50 years. This is why TRWD supports many programs that help save water through outdoor watering and gardening education. At SaveTarrantWater.com, you can sign up for free weekly watering advice custom to your location. If you are a resident of Tarrant County, you can sign up for a free sprinkler system checkup where a licensed irrigator comes to your home and provides a comprehensive evaluation of your system with recommendations to reduce water waste. There is also an event calendar where you can find important information about future classes and workshops. TRWD also partners with organizations like Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and the Tarrant County Master Gardeners to provide educational programs just like this one. Be sure to check out SaveTarrantWater.com and sign up for their free services.
I'm Yolanda Tatum, and as Dick said, I've been a Master Gardener since 2019. This evening, we're going to discuss backyard greenhouses. So, you think you want a greenhouse. A greenhouse will enable you to grow in a controlled environment. It will allow you to do propagation over winter tropics and extend the growing season. Tonight, we will discuss greenhouse management, the definition, getting started, planning your greenhouse, greenhouse styles, greenhouse frames, operating systems and accessories, greenhouse watering systems. A definition, it's a structure designed for the protection of tender or out-of-season plants with regulated temperature, humidity, ventilation against excessive cold and heat. A greenhouse can range from a small room carrying a few plants over the winter to an immersed heated glass building called a hothouse or conservatory, covering acres of ground and used for forcing fruits, flowers, and vegetables out of season. Usually, a glass or plastic enclosed structure with framing of aluminum, galvanized steel, or wood such as redwood, cedar, and cypress. Getting started. The lure of a greenhouse is popular. When you walk inside, you work in the soil and tend to your plant, oblivious to the weather outside, a place where seasons and climates don't matter. You can grow species that you've never grown before and try new gardening techniques in a controlled environment. You can research and build your own, use step-by-step plans, buy a kit. You still have to put it together, or have a contractor build one for you. You must first select an appropriate site where there is plenty of sunlight. Then determine what type of greenhouse you want, the size, the style, and the covering. Planning your greenhouse. First, assess your needs. How big do you want it? The size of your property. The size will dictate the size of your structure. Rule of thumb, when you buy a greenhouse based solely on your current gardening expectations, it may be too small within a year. This I know firsthand. I purchased my greenhouse, had it installed last year in October. I ended up getting a 12 by 16 And as soon as I started moving plants in, I knew then it was going to be too small. Is your purpose for a greenhouse to overwinter houseplants or grow vegetables and flowers? A warm greenhouse that permits maximum light isn't necessary for foliage houseplants. Planning your greenhouse. How elaborate a structure do you need? You can build a simple structure using PVC and plastic. They're easy to assemble and portable. If you want a more elaborate structure, you can use polycarbonate or fiberglass, covering with cedar or redwood for the framing and walls, or a glass enclosed structure with a cement foundation. Don't forget, you're going to need heating and an electrical system. These can be very expensive and not a do-it-yourself project. Is a building permit required? Are there local design ordinances? Must the structure be set back from the property lines? Again, I found out all of this firsthand. The basic rule of thumb is if it's portable and you can take it apart, you don't need a permit. If you install running water, heat, electricity, or a cement foundation, consider a permit. Anyway, don't take my word for it. Ask your local building code. As for taxes, the same applies. It is best to check with your local permit office, which was what I did. I checked with them. I didn't need a permit, but they have some strange rules as far as the property line. How much does it cost to maintain a greenhouse? The cost to maintain a greenhouse and supply it with heat, water, and electricity depends on the energy costs in your area, what type of greenhouse you build, whether it's just plastic covering a frame or if it's actually a plexiglass or glass itself. To maintain your greenhouse in the winter, you can use a small portable heater. Start the season in October, November, and can continue through February or early March. Where should your greenhouse be positioned? Unless it's portable, it's there to stay. The first consideration is sunlight. You need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight. Note any trees, fences, or other obstacles that are in the way. Remember, after June the 21st, the sun gets lower on the horizon. Consider your drainage. Find a level spot. Consider access to water and electricity. Consider the difficulty in walking to your greenhouse in inclement weather. My run from my meter box out to the greenhouse was 92 feet. I did not consider that really when I started. I thought it wasn't that far, but it was. Structural materials. The style of a greenhouse you select depends on how permanent you want the structure to be and whether it will be freestanding or attached to the house. Attached is called a lean-to. This type of greenhouse is an extension of your home. This is usually direct access to the house, and water and electricity are easily extended to the structure. If you see the structure on the left-hand side, they've got a door coming from the house of the garage that they can enter directly. These are just some structures that are economical to put together. You can get some kits, or you can go online and look up how to put a frame together from PVC, then enclose it with plastic. That'll meet your needs. A-frame. They're simple to construct. The A-frame can be built in sections on the ground, then raised into place and covered. Although the shape is ideal for heavy snow loads to provide limited headroom and difficulty to vent. The Gothic arch. The Gothic roof line is extremely decorative. I love the look of that. This style is good for a choice of regions with lots of rain and snow, so that the snow and rain just flows off the side from the peak. A span roof. This freestanding style is most typical and usable space for your greenhouse. The interior layout is extremely practical with easy access. This is the one that I have. I chose this span roof structure. Hoop houses. A hoop house can be very reliable. It keeps off excessive rain, blocks the wind, and raises temperatures. You can, once you form your hoops, they can be made of PVC or an aluminum. When I took my greenhouse management class, we actually got to take some metal and bend it into that shape. It was a cool class. Film plastic. A greenhouse covered with film plastic is 1/6 to 1/3 the cost of glass structures. Many resist yellowing, lasting 3 to 5 years. Available in many thicknesses. The thicker the film, the more expensive. Remember to use one that has a UV protection. Another way to reduce heat loss is to double layer the plastic, creating an air pocket for insulation. This winter, since I just gotten my structure, I bubble wrapped the whole inside from one end to the other, and it made it so much warmer. Coverings. One of the most important decisions is the choice of materials to cover your greenhouse. If you want a material that will let in maximum light while allowing less amount of heat to escape, as well as it must be strong enough to withstand wind, hard rain, and hail. Glass is a preferred traditional material. It lasts indefinitely, but does become brittle with age, and it's breakable, which is why I didn't choose that. Rigid plastics. Fiberglass, acrylic, polycarbonate, are available in corrugated and flat forms. Both can be used on curved structures. My walls are slanted and they come down, and it meets the side walls. This rigid plastic is shatterproof. It resists hail damage to varying degrees. Don't think just because you put that out there and you use this product that you won't have some damage from the hail. So far, I haven't. I've been pretty lucky. The light transmits through the fiberglass panels and is roughly equal to that of glass. Fiberglass covering require less cooling than glass covering. Acrylic will transmit the light better than the polycarbonate and is stronger. Greenhouse frames. Most frames that are made of wood, aluminum, galvanized steel, and PVC. Mine looks like the one in the center with that structure and the polycarbonate walls. Galvanized steel. Most commercial greenhouses have galvanized steel frames because they are longer lasting, low cost, and require less framework than other framing materials. Mine is made exactly like that. It is a galvanized steel frame. They're typically covered with polyurethane film. Be sure that any steel tubing greenhouse you purchase is made with tubing that is protected for the greenhouse normal humidity. Remember, if you have a misting system on the inside, you're going to have that condensation and you don't want it to rust. Steel's greatest value naturally is the strength. Aluminum, available in varieties of color and has a low maintenance requirements. I love the look of this greenhouse with this. I like the way the doors open. They appear to be double doors. It has a higher initial cost and is most often used with glass and rigid plastics that are glazing in the structure. It does not have the strength of steel, but look for engineered shapes that can increase the strength. Wood. Wood is most commonly used either for sunrooms or in homemade greenhouses. Redwood or cedar are used because of their natural resistance to the elements and the look. Wood frames are generally much larger and heavier than equivalent metal frames, which increases the amount of shadow in the greenhouse, though they're very attractive. PVC pipe. PVC hobby greenhouses have become increasingly popular. The main advantage are their low cost, portability, and ease of installation. PVC is not as strong as metal and wood greenhouse frames. Operating systems. The flooring. The floor of your greenhouse should allow for easy drainage. Gravel and brick or concrete stepping stones laid over sand are a great choice. You will want to lay a sheet of woven weed barrier under the floor, covering to prevent some weed growth. Wood slate can be used, but they tend to get very slippery when wet. If you notice the photo on the right side, mine is exactly like that. I placed stepping stones down and filled in the spaces with gravel. Operating systems are with your ventilation. Ventilation is the single most important requirement for a greenhouse. Your ventilation system will keep your temperatures in your greenhouse at a reasonable level in the summer. Winter ventilation needs are lower. My greenhouse has a an exhaust fan at the back, and in the front, it has, just like the middle picture, it has a louvered window that opens automatically when it reaches a certain temperature and the fan goes off. Heating. Heating is necessary if you plan to use your greenhouse throughout the year. If you're using your greenhouse to start seedings and root cuttings in the spring, supplemental heating probably will not be necessary. You can use heat mats, which is what I did early spring. February, March, I started seedings. Smaller models can be adequately heated with electric heaters. Do not expose to water. Larger greenhouses consider gas heaters. Best to use a ventilated heater to release harmful gases. When I had the company come out and install mine, they suggested a heater that is controlled from an app from my phone. I love it. I have a sensor in there that goes off and tells me when the temperature has gotten lower. I can turn the heater on from my phone and I don't have to walk all the way out. Cooling. This is something I'm faced with right now. See the middle photo with the swamp cooler? If you find one of those things, can you let me know? They are difficult to find, but they are perfect for a greenhouse, regardless of what kind of material it's made from. Shade cloth. Shade cloth is used by professional growers to cool during those long, hot summers. It is relatively inexpensive and is good for providing shade for plants that don't grow well in the full sun. I've got shade cloth over mine. I was fortunate enough to find just the right size on Amazon. It goes front to back, and I've got it anchored down. Benches. Benches make a difference in the ease of gardening and add a lot of workspace. I only have benches on one side of my greenhouse. Benches come in a variety of materials, from wood to steel to aluminum to plastic. The benches that I have on that one side are plastic with some grating over the top. Actually, it's a chicken wire, and I just cut it to fit, anchored it down, and that's where I stage all of my plants and my seedings on my heat mats. Overhead misters, mat irrigation, drip tubing, water hose. These are the little extra things that you don't think about when you're getting that greenhouse. Mine has an overhead mister that almost reaches from side to side, but because it's in the ceiling in the middle, it doesn't quite get the side. So I am attaching some little misters along that vent on the side to make sure everything gets enough water. This is exactly what the inside of mine looks like. I've got 2 bars for hanging plants on the top. I've got the bench on one side. The other side, I've got 2 chairs and a little table. When you decide you want to start seedings, you need to consider if you're going to get heat mats or how you're going to keep those watered. You can install extra tubing along the sides. That photo on the left-hand side, once you run the tubing, whether it's a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, you can punch it pretty close to where you really want the water to spray out. Or you can use the things on the right-hand side where you can just put a pick inside of each of the pots. I don't have any picks yet. I need to get some. When you're considering how you're going to install your greenhouse, you need to think about that foundation. Is it going to be ground level? Are you going to build the sidewalls up and then attach your structure? All of these need to be considered, because if you put your flooring in or your structure on top of these cinder blocks, remember it absolutely must be level. Sometimes that's not a good do-it-yourselfer project. Here is where they have started the cinder block. Let's see if I can go back and put that structure up. They bent the poles that looks like galvanized steel. Then they moved it over and anchored it on top of those raised cinder blocks. That increases the height on your inside, which is a great option. Mine is 8.6 feet at the center of the height. Here you have references for websites, for greenhouse nursery guides. Take a photo of this page and you can get more insight. I tell people to always do your research, from locating your site to what type of structure you want. Each of these is through Texas Master Gardeners and Texas A&M. These are, like I say, just reference websites. Additional resources for backyard greenhouses. This Greenhouse Management magazine, I have tried to get this magazine. I haven't gotten a subscription, but I've seen the magazine. Texas Nursery Men magazines is a great one. Greenhouse product news magazines, I've not seen that one. Greenhouse Grower magazine, and then that International Floriculture magazine. The Transforming Builder series and How to Build. I actually purchased this book online from Amazon. It's a great reference tool, and it allows you to have in your hand a book that will help you get started with building your greenhouse. Okay. I have no idea why that decided to do that. Okay, Dick, do we have any questions?
You have questions, please enter them in the Q&A. So far, I don't see any, but we'll give them time to.
Okay.
Here's someone that says you can order a swamp cooler with frame pump filter from Home Depot.
Really? I didn't know that. Great to know that.
Yeah, this Jim Parker it presented that. I think he's in New Mexico, though. He's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So evidently that would be a good way to get a swamp cooler.
Yeah, the ones that they had back in the 40s, 50s, 60s are absolutely the great ones, but you can never find those things. Even going to the antique shops or flea markets, they're very difficult to find. But I'll look that up. Home Depot. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We have, Mary Ann would like to see the list of magazines again, if you can go back to that slide.
Okay, let me. I don't know why it's not going back.
You're not getting the little arrows to let you go back?
I am not, because I actually use the arrows on the computer.
Yeah, it looks like it's frozen.
It does. It does look like it's frozen. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. Hmm. It appears to be frozen. Can we put those in the information that we give them when they can go back and look at it again if they choose to review the material I presented tonight? I would love for them to be able to just take a quick photo of that,
Well,
but it appears to be frozen.
They need to remember we're going to be sending them a copy of this presentation, and it'll have all of that, that you'll be able to see again. And you can watch it as many times as you like. So you will be getting a copy of it. So you can definitely, you'll have a easy way to view all of that information.
Absolutely. Is there anything else in Q&A?
Yeah. How do you keep critters and pests out of the greenhouse?
What I did with my greenhouse, and this was probably a little much. I have several pathways that I have put in over the years and taken out. And I took my greenhouse when I started out with those cinder blocks, not cinder blocks, the paving stones. I lined the inside and outside with these red fire bricks. I had a walkway that I had years ago, and I had just stacked them over in the yard and had never used them. I had enough bricks to double the height. I put the first layer in all the way around on the inside, then went back and doubled it and did exactly the same thing on the outside. And to this date, I have not had any critters in there. I mean, because I'm out there every day. But other than, depending upon what kind of material you make your greenhouse out of, you can always line it. They've got material that's a metal that really is a roof flashing. And at first I was going to put that in. You can get the roll in 5 foot, 8 foot, or 10-foot lengths, and it's about 4 foot wide, or however, it's several at Home Depot. But I just chose to line mine with bricks on the inside and outside. And so far, it's worked.
Okay. Mr. Parker corrected. He now lives in Euless, Texas. So that makes him readily available. He's lived there for 2 years.
Okay.
And he's also a Tarrant County Master Gardener.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. We may have to get together and go to Home Depot and make a trip of that. I guess because I never see them in there. You must go to the service counter to see if you can order them.
Okay. Laura wants to know, how did you attach the bubble wrap to the inside of your greenhouse?
There, I bought this on Amazon. They are they're not little clips. They almost look like a clothespin, except they're round. Instead of being flat like a clothespin, it's round. And they actually they tell you in the instructions or in the description that it's for attaching bubble wrap or attaching film or whatever. It did list bubble wrap, but I rolled it out, put some tape to keep it there, overlapped it, and at each of the junctions for the ribbing that's on the inside of my greenhouse, I attached it. I put they look like clothespins. They were plastic though instead of wood, and then attached it to the frame on the inside, and I did that all the way down. And yes, it took me a while. I think I worked on that at least 3 days because you on and off the ladder because I'm vertically challenged. I'm only 5'2", and the inside of that greenhouse is 8.6. But you can find it on Home Depot. On Amazon. And it's listed with the bubble wrap.
Okay, someone was asking again if the references can be sent to them later. As I mentioned, you will get a copy of this presentation and it will have all of those references that Yolanda showed in her slides. So you should be able to access that at that time. Mr. Parker wants to know, would you change your floor to concrete in your greenhouse?
I don't think so. I'm really pleased with the paving stones and the gravel. I do mist or water, and it just flows right through. There's a weed barrier on the bottom, and then I put do you know what lasagna gardening is, where you put down your weed block and then you put cardboard down? That was exactly what I did. I've had a couple of little stray weeds come up through there, but very, very few have I pulled out. And no, I don't think I would change it to concrete because I love the gravel and the way it lets the water drain. Just personal preference, I guess.
Yeah. Anna wants to know, how much did it cost for your greenhouse and installation?
I purchased mine from East Texas Greenhouses. They've got a website, and it's exactly that, East Texas Greenhouses. On their website, they give you different sizes. And I started out looking on one of the little small ones. I placed my order and then sent them an email about a month later and went, okay, I'm going to 16 feet. So it's really a kit based on the size that you choose, and then the accessories that you want to add. Mine, based on that size, came with the misting system, the exhaust fan, the window on the end that opens automatically. I have a pole that stretches the entire length of the greenhouse that they installed that allows me to put hanging baskets. So I have hanging baskets on either side, and I only chose to get one side with a bench. But most of the things are included in there. Those little extras are the bench and the poles for hanging plants. So I just went in, bought the kit. They came out and installed it. They were gone in 3 hours. It was amazing.
Okay. Mr. Parker said the Home Depot in Albuquerque actually has a section for swamp coolers. So you may not be able to find it in the other stores, but you could order it. You could, however, do your purchasing from the Albuquerque, New Mexico store, but you'd have to pay the shipping.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Right now, I've got that exhaust fan works, and then I've got a couple of oscillating fans that are in there, but that's just when I'm out there working. That's the only time those are on, because I've taken everything out. There aren't any plants in there. It's just those couple of chairs, a little table, and the bench on the side.
Okay, got it.
Hey, great. Welcome to my world. Now that you've had your greenhouse and you've suffered through the newbies of the world, what would you change?
I think I would have made it definitely made it larger. Mine is 12 by 16. Well, I have a lot of tropics. I grow plumerias, and I have a ponytail palm that's 6 feet more. It's still sitting in my sunroom because I can't move the thing. It's just too heavy. It needs a new pot or something around it. But making it larger and installing more of a misting system, maybe the one that's in the top that goes all the way down, that actually came with the kit. I didn't pay extra for that, but I would have had them put misters at waist height. You understand what I mean? Around the sides. That's really what I would have done. I just finished last week, a patio in front of my greenhouse. And it ended up being 16 by 14 feet. And it's all pavers. And I'm hopefully will get the gravel to fill in this week. But just what I would change, I'd put more misters, I'd make it larger, and I would add a little bit more in the front of it, because once you put all that water out, and I really try not to use a lot of water, have several native plants to cut down on that. That's what I would do. A little more of a patio presence in the front of it, which I now have, and more misters.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody said they liked it a lot, so you did a great job, covered pretty much everything, especially having your own greenhouse that you can show and give them examples of what you did and how you did it and all of that. Really helps.
Well, thank you. I know that when I started out, I wanted a kit. I wanted somebody else to come in and put it together. I've seen a lot of friends go, well, I'm going to do this, and they're months later and they don't have it up, or they collected old windows and they can't quite get the frame correct to fit the windows. I didn't want to do that. So that was my reason for going to East Texas Greenhouse. We've got another master gardener. I'll just say Teresa, I won't do her last name, but she just got a brand new greenhouse just within the last couple of weeks. And hers is 12 by 30. And I'm dying to get to her house to see it. I'm going to have to invite myself over. As soon as I see her in class this weekend, I'm going to ask her, when can I come over? But she has enough space and acreage for that. And that's really what you have to think about. I did not think about the distance for that electric. And that's one thing I did do, and I'm so glad I did. I had an electrician. We did have to get a permit, and that's 92 feet from that meter box all the way out. They had to bury the wire. I've got 2 independent 30 amp breakers. Why 2? Pardon me. It was the electrician's suggestion. I run the heater and the fan off of one and all the other lights off of the other. So they're independent. And he put a breaker, a cutoff, right there at the door of the greenhouse. I love it. I will never have to run 90-something feet to go to that breaker box to cut something off. And that was his suggestion. So think about that, because in all honesty, that was another 1,000 plus. I was not expecting that, because I didn't think about how far away from the breaker box it was. So consider the electric and the water. Now my water, I'm still just running a garden hose out there, but that's my next thing.
Okay. Well, I think you got them all, and we thank everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you again on one of our other presentations. Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.